Well, welcome to our ongoing series of studies in the book of Numbers with book by book. And we're looking now into Numbers chapter 4. And it's the duties of the three categories of Levites. There's three big sort of families, clans in the Levites. Each has a family head. And they are headed up as the sons of Kohath, the sons of Gershon, and the sons of Merari. And they're each given important. They all have the overall job of assisting Aaron, the high priest, because remember he's the one mediator, and they all assist. All these three tribes of Levites assist him, but these three have specific duties allocated to them. So the third one, the sons of Merari, they carry the wooden framework, the boards, the structural materials of the tabernacle. When it's time to move the tabernacle and it's all taken apart, these Levites, when it's their turn to serve at the center, they would get all the framework and the boards, and they would make sure that they were stored properly and then transported properly to the next location and then assembled. And then there's the sons of Gershon. They move the fabric, the coverings, the skins and fabric of the tabernacle, the badger skins and whatever, all these furnishings and cords and things. So they would pack those away and make sure they were transported properly. But the one that perhaps attracts our attention most here are these sons of Kohath, because they moved the furniture. So if we've been studying in the books of Moses, we'll know that these pieces of furniture, particularly the Ark of the Covenant and the Table of Presence and the oil lamp, they represent the members of the Trinity. And you remember that they were constructed before the tabernacle itself. The Lord wanted them to make those three pieces of furniture first, and then sort of meditate on the fact that the members of the Trinity exist before the heavens and the earth were ever created. And then this little model of the universe, that's the tabernacle itself, that was made. But first there were these three pieces of furniture. Later, of course, is added the altar of incense, which represents the church, which is there placed right against the curtain at the heart of the life of the Trinity inside the tabernacle. But for these Kohathites, so were the others could just grab hold of the wood and carry it, or the fabric and carry it, but these pieces of furniture could not be handled just by ordinary human hands. So when it came to carrying it, they had to cover them carefully, respectfully, so they weren't just lugged about and people just looking at them. They had to be covered, and there were special carrying poles, and then there were hooks, loops on the sides of the furniture, so that these carrying poles could be inserted, and then these Levites could carry the furniture without touching that furniture with their own hands, and the furniture would be covered respectfully. And it's this tremendous sense of holiness, a holy awe and fear, because if they touched it, they would die. It actually says that in verse 15 of Numbers 4, that if they touch any of these holy things, they will die. And then there is, of course, a story. I was going to write the reference, but I'll tell you what, why don't you see if you can find, there is a story in the Bible where somebody does reach out and touch one of these pieces of furniture. Does that intrigue you? See what happens to them. I'm not going to tell you. Why don't you see if you can find out where that is in the Bible, where somebody doesn't use the carrying poles and they attempt to just they attempt to transport this furniture in just an ordinary way, what happens? I'm not going to tell. I want you to see if you can find it. It is in the Old Testament, and it's a few books of the Bible further on, but just see if you can find it. It's an interesting little puzzle, and look what happens, and see this fear of the living God that involves, that when we come to handle these holy things, particularly in relation to this living God who is the Trinity, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, we must not, even in the way we speak of them and the way we handle them, we must be so careful, so reverent, so fearful. And those Kohathites took their lives in their hands when they came to handle the things of God. They could die. They knew they could die if they were not careful in handling the things of God. May we all be like that when we're handling the things of God. May it be as if our very lives are at stake in what we touch and how we handle it.